Hey there, everyone. 35 days without alcohol. Still going strong with that. Sorry I've been away for a while. Last week has been rather busy. My son's birthday last week, of course. Uh, haven't had a good date night with my wife for a while, and we went to basically on a cool date night on Friday night. Stranger Things event at a place called the Arizona Science Center. That was really fun. Um, Excuse me. Also got to take a trip to visit family for a family reunion over the weekend. Uh, so I've just been really focused on that, and that was a nice celebration, I guess, for hitting 30 days. So that's good. I do want to get back on top of stay on top of the videos though, because help me they help me sort through my life, kind of keep things in check. So I really like doing this. Um, what I want to talk about today, as you can tell by the title, booze culture. So, um, let me start into this. A friend at work asked me uh, if I was still like how things were going with the videos, and she knew I was over past 30 days. She asked if I still got cravings for it, still thought about it. I said, yeah, all the time, every day, and she was really surprised by this, uh, or at least seemed like she was really surprised. I don't want to speak for her. She did seem surprised though, and I explained that it's impossible for me to not have cravings. I mean, one, just because of the patterns and the mental patterns and everything that it's just kind of ingrained into my head. But there's no way to forget about alcohol because it's ingrained into our culture. Uh, it's everywhere we go. And I've had these conversations with, sorry, I don't mean to be all over the place. It's at grocery stores, it's on billboards, it's on the radio, it's on the news, it's on commercials, TV. It's everywhere. It's possible to avoid. Even people at work, they'll make they'll tell me drunk stories. How they got drunk and play with friends, and some of them know that I'm avoiding play games with friends, and some of them know I'm avoiding alcohol. Some of them don't, but it's everywhere, and it's impossible to avoid, impossible to not think about. I wish it could be something almost like out of sight, out of mind, just so I can take a break from thinking about it. But it's it it can be, it's just everywhere, even not in my head thinking about it, just other people telling stories. And I think a lot of people that brought it up to me or talked about it, and just saying that they couldn't do it, they couldn't do what I'm doing because, or they tried and ended up just drinking, and we'll kind of laugh about that. And even if they're telling me that they can't do what I'm doing, it's always something that's just gonna come back to me. I have to get used to almost like always confronting the problem. Just staring it down in the face, just always having an answer, always being prepared. Uh, I've had this conversation a few times, and with a good friend, uh, he brought up another story, but basically, I mean, the whole story is that anyone who's like a heroin addict or meth addict, I'm not saying they have an easier time, but because everything, just about every popular drug aside from alcohol has a sort of a public or social taboo-ness about it, where it's not okay to be brought up in stores. You can't talk about uh, not just that you can't talk about it, but stores, commercials, nowhere. I mean, we're starting to see stuff for marijuana in dispensaries, but there's you know what I mean. You can't go into a grocery store and say the cool deals on meth, but there's alcohol before you enter the store. There's alcohol throughout the store. Uh, you know, even meals. Like if I'm watching a cooking show, it's about what meals will be paired with alcohol, or what alcohol goes with this meal. I mean, you don't ever have like, oh, hey, this food's really good to eat while you're high. I mean, it's all that stuff is just not talked about, but alcohol is everywhere. So it's impossible to go through a day and not hear talk about it. It's so hard to just get it out of my head. So I've kind of just given up that, you know, I probably won't ever be able to relax about it. I have trouble relaxing anyway, so it's just a matter of developing, I guess, a routine. But alcohol is really ingrained into our culture, and that's one thing that makes it really, really hard to quit. It's almost not fair, because people will go to rehab facilities. Let me kind of restart this. I'm still same story, but consider the Rat Park experiment, referring back to the TED Talks, where the rats in Rat Park are in a perfect cage where I'm to be honest, they did have access to the morphine water, but chose not to drink it because they had all of their social needs filled, and the morphine water would have interrupted that. That's sort of like a rehab facility for people without the drug or the addictive substance, you know, being available. If when people go to rehab, they go into a sanctuary where they're away from it for, we'll say, 30 days or 60 days. They can develop patterns for dealing with cravings. You know, they'll probably have craving, panic attacks, what have you, in the facility, and so on. And they'll have peers who are in the same kind of situation to discuss this with. You have an environment where you can develop these patterns away. You know, they're a good response to your addiction. But when you leave that facility, you're back into the environment or the cage where the addiction started. So you can get some tools from that rehab facility that can help, but you're going right back into the same addiction environment. So it's, you know, just because you got it taken care of in the rehab facility doesn't mean that you have it taken care of outside the rehab facility. And when you kind of apply the Rat Park, you know, logic, not saying all that's foolproof and everything, but when you apply that same kind of concept and see why people come out of rehab facilities and still repeat the same problems, it makes a lot of sense, because they're back in the same environment where the addiction flourished, where it was at its strongest. Why they went to rehab in the first place is because they couldn't stop, you know, bringing it home, or that was the environment that the addiction developed and flourished in. It couldn't flourish in the rehab facility or correction facility. When you get back out, even if you might be more prepared, you'll probably be more prepared, but the environment is still the same. So you'll have to find ways to change that environment outside of the facility. However, with alcohol, it's shoved in your face. Advertisements, messages everywhere. You know, if I go out to a restaurant, they'll say, oh, we're having specials on these drinks right now. And even though it's not, I do pretty well in social environments of not having urges, cravings, anything. It's more of when I'm alone and my thoughts are just to myself that it's the hardest. But just having these reminders, it helps keep it so present and just in your face. And if you were to go to rehab facility for meth, is just, I guess, an easy, you know, extreme drug to name. But if you go to a facility for that and come out, I'm not saying it's easier than alcohol, but it, there's just it's just not shoved in your face as much. I can't really speak for people in a meth addiction situation, but you'd have to have the contacts and you have to have the availability. I mean, with alcohol, you just go to a store and buy it. And I mean, if you for some reason you're under 21 and can't purchase it, you just have someone 21 purchase it. It's incredibly easy to get a hold of. It's not even a challenge. It's the opposite. They're trying to get you to buy it. I feel like the society almost society, not quite society, but like corporate America in a way, is almost dependent on alcohol addiction. Even if someone doesn't have it as extreme as me, most people can't even seem to go a week or a few days without drinking, at least over the weekend. I mean, just about everybody I talk to around, if they don't drink during the week, they'll drink on the weekends. And it's so every day I'm getting reminders. It's impossible to stop it. It's just ingrained into our culture of, there's little subcultures and pockets that have, meth, heroin, drugs like that, but it's not part of American culture. And, I mean, football games, just sport events, everything, just it's everywhere. Uh, it's like, it's almost like everything in America is an excuse to drink. Oh, it's 4th of July, we got to drink. Oh, I had a hard day at work, I got to drink. Oh, I had a great day at work, I got to drink. Just, it's like that. I mean, I've kind of said everything I need to. It's just ingrained into our culture, and it's impossible to avoid, and it's really taken advantage of by, you know, by by the companies. It's so prevalent and in your face, and there's nothing you can do about it except build up a hardened response to it. You have to have a plan of preparation because there's no way to avoid it. You have to arm yourself, and I mean that's what I've done here, and that's what I need to continue to do. So I don't have bad days like day 28, and or even worse, and end up like Philip Seymour Hoffman, consumed by addiction, and end up dying. So that's all I just wanted to bring up tonight is that it really sucks. It's ingrained into our culture, and it's probably going to be just for my whole lifetime. I don't expect it to go away anytime soon, and I don't expect it to. I just wish it wasn't so advertised. I don't want it to be illegal. I do think people should have the option to drink if they want to, and it's up to them and to be responsible. I'm not saying it should be gone. It just sucks how it's literally everywhere. If that's not even close to an exaggeration. It is literally everywhere, so bad that it's offered free at my work. It's a reward. Hey, we love you guys so much. You're the best employees ever. Here's some free drinks. It's and people love it. It's insane. It's overload. But I think I've armed myself pretty well with your help and my ability to outsmart myself and trap myself into situations that like mind-bending situations. I mean, if I'm not causing myself addiction, if I'm not breaking my head with addiction, I'm breaking my head with ways to break addiction. So anyway, I've really said all I needed to. Just sucks it's everywhere. There's no way to avoid it. Like there is with other things, or seemingly ways to avoid other drugs. They're just not advertised. I'm just repeating myself at this point. I'll wrap this up. I got to go to jiu-jitsu today. That was really awesome. I haven't been able to go for a month because I've been focused on this. and it was just a blast to go back. I got worn out so easily, but I did good and I had fun. So I'm gonna go back tomorrow. I kind of been off with my whole exercise routine. I did get some burpees in today during I did about 20 at work. And I did a lot of I've been trying to do some yoga, especially because I've got a bad knee, and bad left knee, and I've been trying to do some yoga to help take care of this knee pain and just get more flexible. I mean, that'll help with jujitsu and really all my life. I know yoga is fantastic, so that's kind of what I've been up to lately. I'll have some more talks coming to you guys soon, of course. Thanks for listening, and take care as always. Love you. See you later. Bye.